Hello everyone, welcome for this lecture. Today we are going to move to the last module, that is three-phase induction motor. Here we have two parts again in the module 5. One is generator, another one is a motor. So now we'll discuss the motor. Okay, so in the second part we'll move to the generator. Okay, as we have studied in earlier module 4, that we have in that module we have studied DC machines. Okay, in that DC machines we have studied a DC generator and DC motors. Okay, in a similar way here also in the module 5 we are going to study the AC machines. So in that we are going to study AC generator and AC motors. Okay, remember in AC we don't call AC generator. Instead of AC generator we call it as alternator. You remember this word. Okay, alternator. Okay, and then AC motor also we study. And the AC motors will study three-phase induction motor, and in alternators we'll study synchronous generator. Okay, well, let's move to the three-phase induction motor. As you know, the name indicates it is a motor. Meaning of this one is the machine motor is, or three-phase induction motor is a machine which converts AC electrical energy into mechanical energy. Okay, so these types are most widely used electrical motors. Okay, in the industry as well. They run they run at essential constant speed from no load to full load. However, the speed is frequency dependent, and consequently these motors are not easily adapted to speed control. Okay, speed cannot be controlled and so easily. Okay, so we usually prefer DC motors whenever we require large speed variations are required. Okay, so then we'll study three-phase induction motor. As we know, it consists of mainly two parts. Okay, one is called as stator part, another one is called rotor parts. So rotor part and stator part are separated by some gap that is called as air gap. Okay, and then remember this works, and this rotor will be mounted on the shaft. Okay, whenever rotor start rotating, then shaft also start rotating. Okay, that rotor is mounted on the shaft. You remember these things. Okay, it consists of mainly two parts. One is stator, another one is rotor. Okay, so here what happens is, stator is a static device which will not move. Okay, stator is a static device and a rotor is a rotating part. Okay, so what happens here is, this stator and rotor, the supply carries by the stator, means the supply, three-phase supply will be given to this stator part. Okay, while the rotor carries a short circuited winding. Okay, as we have discussed, this stator also carries this stator winding. Okay, and this rotor carries a short circuited windings, so called as rotor windings. Okay, the rotor winding derives its voltage and power from the external energized stator windings through electromagnetic induction. Okay, hence the name is induction motors. Remember, this three-phase induction motors works on the principle of same as that of your transformer. Okay, it works on the principle of mutual induction. Okay, so now we'll discuss its advantage and disadvantage, and then we'll go for the construction. Okay, let's see its advantages. Okay, it is simple and rugged construction. Okay, its construction is very simple, right, and it is a bit cheap also. Okay, and requires a little maintenance as well, and then it has a high efficiency and reasonably good power factor. Okay, it has a self-starting torque. Right, so these are some advantage of this three-phase induction motor. A few disadvantages are there. It is essentially a constant speed motor, as we have discussed. This is the constant speed motor. Okay, its speed cannot be changed easily. Okay, its starting torque is inferior to this compared to your DC shunt motors. Okay, these are your advantage and disadvantage of three-phase induction motor. Let's see the construction of three-phase induction motor. As we have discussed, three-phase induction motor has two main parts. One is stator, another one is rotor. Okay, as you know, the stator is a static part. Okay, rotor is a rotating part. The rotor is separated. This is a stator. Okay, and this is a rotor. Inside there will be a shaft. Okay, because rotor will be mounted on the shaft. This rotor is separated from the stator by a small gap, is called as air gap. Okay, which ranges from 0 to 4 mm to 4 mm. Okay, it will be depending on the power of the motor. All right, so you can observe the construction of induction motor is this is the frame. Okay, this is the frame, and it consists of rotor parts, stator part, and inside this is a rotor part, and this is a rotor drum. It is called as a shaft. Okay, observe here, this is stator. In that stator we have stator slots. Okay, in that slots you can put your conductors. Okay, you can do the winding as well, right? So these are your stator slots. Okay, inside that there will be a conductors. Okay, similarly these are your rotor slots as well as the rotor conductors inside. Okay, this is the construction of three-phase induction motor. Let's see one by one of these parts. Mainly we are going to consider based on stator and rotor. So we'll see the stator. As we said, the stator is a static part. Okay, it consists of steel frame which encloses a hollow cylindrical core made up of thin laminations of a silicon steel. Okay, it is made up of silicon steel. Why it is used silicon steel? To reduce hysteresis and eddy current losses. A number of evenly spaced slots are provided on the inner periphery of the laminations. You can observe this inner periphery of the stator slots. Okay, and then now this insulated conductors are placed. As we know, we are supposed to insulate it properly. Insulated conductors are placed in the stator slots, are suitably connected to form a balanced three-phase star or a delta connected circuit. Okay, we'll move to the second one, rotor. Rotor is mounted on the shaft. It is a hollow laminated core having slots on it. Its outer periphery, you can see here, it is an outer periphery, whereas your stator has inner periphery slots. Okay, so this based on this winding. Okay, the winding placed in the slots and these are rotor windings also, you can do it. Maybe one of the following of two types. Remember the types of rotor. Based on the types of rotor, how the rotor winding is done, based on that your induction motor is classified. Okay, so you can say it is the types of induction motor, or you can say it is the types of rotors. There are two types of rotors we can see based on its rotor windings, windings placing on the slots. It is a squirrel cage rotor and wound rotor type rotor. Okay, let's see first what is this squirrel cage rotor. Okay, squirrel cage rotor, it consists of a laminated cylindrical core having parallel slots on its outer periphery. Okay, so means parallel slots will be showing you in the figure. Okay, one copper or aluminum bar is placed in each slot. All those bars are joined at each end by metal rings called end rings. Okay, remember this. Okay, that has shorted by this end rings. Okay, this forms a permanently short circuited winding which is indestructible, and the entire construction resembles the squirrel cage, so it is called as a by that name, squirrel cage induction motor. Those induction motors which employ your squirrel cage rotor are called as a squirrel cage induction motor. Most of the three-phase induction motors are used is squirrel cage rotor types. Okay, as it has a remarkably simple in construction and enabled to operate it in a most adverse circumstances. Okay, as we know, we have seen disadvantages also. It suffers from the disadvantage of a low starting torque. Okay, it is because the rotor bars are permanently short circuited and it is not possible to add any external resistances. As we have said here, the conductor bars are short circuited at the end by using end rings. Okay, so it means that there is no additional or external resistance to the rotor circuit, okay, to have a large starting torque. Okay, so this you can see, these are your rotor conductors are placed slightly slanted. Okay, so we'll say these are parallel but slightly slanted. Okay, these are the conductor bars. This is your rotor. This you can see it is a shaft. Okay, rotor is mounted on the shaft. This which you can able to see the circles are your end rings. So each bar, okay, at each bar that has to be cut and short circuited there, okay, by using your end rings. This is your squirrel cage rotor. Okay, so if this squirrel cage rotor if you have in the three-phase induction motor, then that induction motor is called as squirrel cage induction motor. Okay, let's see, next one is a wound rotor. Okay, wound rotor type. So this is also called as a slip ring induction motor. Suppose this type of a rotor is present in the induction motor, then that induction motor we call it as a three-phase wound rotor or slip ring induction motor. Okay, it consists of laminated cylindrical core and carries a three-phase windings similar to the one on the stator winding. Okay, the rotor windings are uniformly distributed in the slots and usually star connected is preferred. Okay, the open ends of the rotor winding are brought out and joined to the three insulated slip rings, okay, mounted on the rotor shaft with one brush resting on each slip rings. Will show this. Observe here. Okay, this is your wound rotor. Okay, it is each conductor is brought with the slip rings along with brushes. Okay, and then this are connected to an means is it has left to connect external rotor resistances. Okay, so that you can observe here. Okay, each brush has to be resting on each slip rings. The three brushes are connected to three-phase star connected rheostat that we have seen. At the starting, the external resistance are included. Remember this, at the starting only the external resistances are included in this rotor. Okay, so once the large starting torque, once the rotor gets to get, it has got a large starting torque, then these resistances are gradually reduced to zero as the motor runs up to the speed. Okay, so this is about your wound rotor induction motors. As we have seen, if this type of a rotor is present in the induction motor, then we call it as wound rotor induction motor, or you can say three-phase slip ring induction motor. Okay, as we have said, the external resistance are used during starting period only. Okay, when the motor attains its normal speed, then the three brushes are short circuited so that the wound rotor runs like a squirrel cage rotor. You remember this point. Okay, so I hope you have got this. Okay, we'll see the animation how it works. Let's see the construction of the three-phase induction motor, okay, by this animated video. Okay, observe in this, when the supply is given to the stator. Okay, as we have discussed, the induction motor consists of two main parts. One is a stator, another one is a rotor. Let's see what is a stator. Stator is a thin laminated, okay, these are the thin plates of a silicon steel laminated together forms a core. Okay, once it is like a hollow core. Okay, and then the winding will be placed on this. Okay, these are called, you can place a conductors or you can place a winding upon this. So these are called as stator winding. when the supply is given to this, okay, when the three-phase supply is given to this, the conductor starts behaving like an electromagnet, okay, and then they starts producing a flux. Every half cycle this flux are going to change its north to south and south to north. Okay, so this will discuss in detail about RMF, rotating magnetic field. Okay, now next part is the rotor part, which is a rotating part mounted on the shaft. This is your shaft. Okay, so now as always remember, rotor will be inserted in the stator. Okay, the gap between rotor and the stator is called as a air gap. Remember, every half cycle this poles, their phases are going to change, therefore there will be producing an alternating flux. Okay, so this will be rotating continuously once it starts reaching its synchronous speed. About this we'll discuss later. Okay, observe here, every time this north and south is going to be changed. Because of that your rotor starts rotating continuously. Okay, so